that 4th of July. Hope you all are having have some amazing plans. We give our company the entire week off, so I know they're enjoying life a little bit this week. Something we started doing during the pandemic. We found this kind of mid-year recharge to be a really big one. So for all my scalers, we've got a bunch of different names. Scalers, scalees just sounds too fishy. Yes, pun intended. But hope everyone's having a great gear up for the 4th. So today, it's actually a really good time for today's session because so many of you, if you follow my content, if you're a leader, and if you're not, if you're a leader or if you're a rep that works on a team with a VP, this would be one to forward along. That I think a lot of, whether you're on the front lines or whether you are, in leadership, I will tell you, I think some of the most important, parts of being a leader today is how are we staying in front of innovation? And innovation is coming. And hopefully, if you follow my content, the Modern Leader newsletter, and these different lives, you are, already trying to stay at the forefront. So what I'm going to do today is I'm going to give you all a 6-week plan for how to get up to speed with AI. As usual, drop your questions. We will try to get to them today. If not, we will tackle them on a future one, and I will tag you in it so you know that we've answered it. So again, if you followed the lives that I've done over the last, call it, month, I've given a lot of very tactical advice on specific prompts, things that you can do. Today, I'm going to take a step back. Instead, what I'm going to do is help you to build. And by the way, what I'm telling you right now, this is very, very similar to what I did, right? And what I'll tell you, my recollection of, kind of what happened is I had a good conversation with a fellow sales leader of mine. Shout out to Kevin Dorsey. And he and I had a beer and pizza, and he was telling me about this, like what's going on. And I had downloaded it, and I had, been playing around with it as well, just to like learn some of the basics. But after that conversation, I realized that, wow, this is going to be much bigger. This is going to be bigger than I think. And so I started to dive in, and I'm going to walk you through a little bit of my plan and how I got there. And so again, I've got a little cheat sheet for you all, but you all can kind of deviate as you'd like here. Okay, so number one is this. You're going to hear, this is the crazy part. You're going to hear every day. It's going to be like this new AI thing, this new AI thing. So my number one advice is to just set a goal. What I did is I literally had an hour a day. And I think, look, for a lot of you as a leader, someone with a quota, you might go, Jake, an hour a day, like that's a lot of time. I am telling you, by doing what I'm going to walk you through today, you are going to save months or years off of your next 3 to 4 years if you can start to integrate this stuff. Okay. So as I walk through this, I'm going to give you some of these. So set a goal. For me, it was a time-bound goal. Step one for me within those goals, and I'm going to talk about this kind of like as phase 2, which is crawl, walk, run, is just what are the things that you want to accomplish? So maybe for this week, you want to just experiment. You want to just say, okay, what are the limits on this around this topic or that topic? Then the next week. So over the next 6 weeks, I want you to set a goal that after 6 weeks, I've integrated it into ABC. I've found 2 ways to make my team more productive. Whatever that might be, set a goal. Team productivity, increase my quality of net new meeting, first conversations, increase my preparation for meetings, whatever that might be. So I'm a big fan of time and then setting some type of broader goal and what you might need to be able to do that. Okay. So the next is again, hopefully this isn't just 6 weeks. 6 weeks is going to get you jump started. So number 2 is don't chase the shiny object. I've got written here, crawl, walk, run. Do not worry. You're going to hear about, oh, Jake, now there's this new deep fake AI one. Now there's this thing that can integrate with Google Sheets. Now, great. Write it all down. Stay focused on the goal, right? Now, if there's something that you learn about that you think could help you to get to the goal, sure, go test it out. Go see how it works, okay? But that's what I would say is just think of this process as crawl, walk, run. Do not get distracted by the shiny objects. Do not try to feel like, oh my gosh, I'm so behind. There's a gentleman, Brian, on my team. If y'all don't follow Brian, I feel like Brian feels like he's always behind on it. I'm like, dude, you are literally at like the forefront. I started with Chat GPT because here's what I would say: whether you use Chat GPT or Bard or really some of the other AI, you're more so learning how to kind of retrain how you go and start creating information. And that's how I think about this, whether it's, okay, I've got this new problem. Let me, have AI help me to maybe formulate that. Or I've got a couple of bullet points. Can it help me to get maybe 3 or 4 more bullet points if I need them? So I started at Chat GPT. If you want to start on Bard, you've already been messing around with it. That's fine. But again, don't feel like you need to chase everything. Again, I would just focus on like the basics as a part of this. So then the next is, again, if you want to think about, I guess, like the next iteration, because obviously now you're going to start to work toward the goal. So we've set a goal, we've made a commitment to not start chasing things, around. And for me, my goal was to start to test like what are the limits around what this might be able to do for sales advice and for sales leadership. So that was my goal, for everyone, if you're wondering that. So the next thing I'll tell you is don't get discouraged. Meaning, so that's number 3 here, is that as you go through this, you're not going to like the answers sometimes. You're going to be like, this sucks. This isn't accurate. But understand how the basic chat bots work is the quality of the prompt determines the quality of the answer. So even if it's 70% accurate or 80% accurate, what you're going to do, for me, this is my number one challenge, is you can't get frustrated. Just realize, like, I got to ask a better question. Like, maybe I'm just not asking a very good question here, or I'm not giving it enough advice, right? And I'm not going in and giving it, the context to give a great answer. So to me, that was my number one challenge, that it's going to happen to all of you. You're going to be testing it. You're not going to like some of the answers. And then you're going to start to kind of get better at some of the, prompting is what we would call it here. So the next thing, after you've you've gone through this process. So I've set a goal. I've got my focus. I've got my thoughts around being frustrated. Is again, I don't really worry about the exaggerations or some of these other things, and like, if this answer wasn't perfect, etc. Because I know that the speed of the answer I'm getting compared to the quality is so much faster than if I started at 0. Okay. And so number 4 is, again, I want you to like think about some of your expectations. Okay. It is certainly going to automate some things, but instead it's just going to allow you to do much higher quality things. So for me, again, and if you've watched my lives, some of the things that I think about or I talk about around some of these tools. Is just understand that my expectation isn't that this is going to fix everything for me. My expectation is that I can use this to end up in a better place, that this is going to help me. And again, some of the big areas that I really think are important here, again, when I'm thinking of this kind of like 6-week journey that I want all of you to go on, is, again, here's my goal. And how can I test the limits of that? Right. So let's say maybe your goal is I want to have better conversations with this type of person. Well, there's a lot of things you could do. You could ask it, what are the top priorities for this group? You could feed it some of your product information and say, what would these people probably care about? Another really great use case is role playing. Hey, act like you are a difficult person who really cares about this one thing that I know we don't do very well. And how would you build a reverse value proposition knowing this is what we do to, help that person? So again, there's multiple applications here. There's call it, kind of giving you best practices. Cool. It's really good at that nearly out of the gate. So for a lot of you, like, the best practice is going to be a great place to start. Then there's again, getting better at the prompts. Right. And then there's the role playing, and just understand, again, balancing your expectations. Number 4 here. It's not going to be great at everything at once. Another thing I'll call out right here, and a lot of you might already know this, but when you're starting your process of learning, create different threads for different topic ideas. because, again, if you're on the back end, it's different. Each thread is its own stream of consciousness, you could call it. So, if you want it to go deep, you're like, I want to create the most badass, preparation chat. Keep going deep. I sell to these 4 buyer personas. They care about these 5 things. I've got a meeting with this buyer persona coming up. Help me to role play it. So just think about what you can do there around, again, it's not going to be perfect, but the more that you kind of keep it concise, you're talking about the same thing on this one, and then maybe you want another one that's going to help you to get better on competitive intel, right? So again, it's not going to be able to necessarily do and come up with the best work out of the gate. You're going to have to put some work into it. So just to kind of balance expectations, again, just understand that the quality of the prompt, the more that you spend time with it, right? Each individual thread. So again, you will continually get not the answers that you want if you mix up threads and questions, as opposed to go deeper and deeper on the same one, right? Around whatever that goal is or what you want to do. So that is my 6-week challenge for each of you, okay, is to do those 4 things. If you do these 4 things, I said an hour, I'm fine with 30 minutes a day. It's 2.5 hours. I'm telling you, again, this is going to change the way you work. It already is changing the way that millions of people work. So again, step 1 is set a goal. All right. I want you to sit there and say, hey, my own skill set. Maybe I'm a sales leader. Maybe I'm a VP of sales. Maybe I'm a CRO. Maybe I'm a CEO. What is a goal that I have of something I want to get better at? Don't think of just, oh, can AI help me to get better at this? Don't worry about that. Set a goal for how, if there's something that you got better at. And again, think about like a process or a skill that's really where it's strongest. What would that goal look like? Maybe there's a learning goal. Every 30 minutes, I want to, do that. And maybe you spend the first week of your 6 weeks just tinkering and then coming up with what your goal is. That's totally fine too. Asking it some questions, things like that. So set a goal. Number 2, stay focused. Okay. Crawl, walk, run. Do not feel like you need to pay attention to all of these things. Understanding the foundations of questions, response, and how by feeding better prompts, which are the questions / backstories that you give the chat threads, it will increase the quality of the answer. It's not perfect. So just again, as you go forward, again, that goes to number 3, which is like the challenge that you're going to face is the one that I face and everyone is like, you're not going to love some of the answers, right? And so don't get frustrated. Go back to the crawl, walk, run. Maybe you're like, oh, I got this. I'm running. Oh, wait, why did all these answers suck? Okay, I need to go back to the beginning here. Like a good example, I was asking it for different synonyms to the word current that all start with C. And it kept giving me current as one of them. And I was like, okay, and don't give me contemporary or something. And it kept giving it to me. Who cares? It still had some other really, really good examples. So the challenges that you're going to face, even if you're, I don't know, like going through the motion, as you're going through this, as you're even in your crawl, walk, and maybe you want to run, don't be frustrated. Instead, just realize like, okay, like, wow, this is still way better than what it would have been. And then last, but certainly not least, balance your expectations. Just understand, like, at first it might be able to create some really good, kind of initial starting points for you. Hey, I want to increase my quality of conversations with this type of buyer. Okay, great. Boom. Then just think as you continue to invest in the quality of the interactions and the prompts, the expectations can raise a little bit to where the quality of the responses will be better and better and better. But also don't expect that it's going to do everything for you. So my friends, that's what I got for you. 6-week #6-week AI challenge, right? I think we're going to use the number 6. Let's do that. Number 6 weeks, 6-week. Let's just do singular. 6-week AI challenge. I'd love to see that hashtag blow up. Flag this post because I think it'll help a lot of you out there. And again, what my commitment to you is, you are going to see a massive gain in your productivity and your skill set jump up. This 6 weeks challenge, if you spend 30 minutes to 60 minutes every day, 2.5 to 5 hours a week, that means over 6 weeks, you're investing a whopping, like, what is that? 2.5, 5, it's like 15 to 30 hours over 6 weeks. I promise you, every minute you spend coming out of this 6 weeks, you are going to DM me and you're going to say, Jake, holy crap, my life has changed. So I hope this helps some of you out there. Like I said, make sure, feel free to DM me, drop any questions that you might have for me. We've got some cool links and some things coming up as well, too. Around, again, if you're not following the Modern Leader, please make sure sign up for the newsletter. That's growing like wildfire. Make sure to listen to the podcast as well, too. I'll drop those links. And have an amazing 4th of July. All right, go out, enjoy some time away. Now, especially if your company gives you some time off, there's no better time than right now. All right, everyone, have a great rest of your day, and we will see you all next week.